came to us wanting to get the students involved in writing a song for the community, because I thought if they want to deliver something to an Indigenous community, they want Indigenous people to deliver it. So I think we formed a little team of students, and we sat down, and over a couple of weeks we put all the lyrics together, and another student started off with the music, and it just all came together, I think. And I think Consumer Protection have been quite happy with our work, and it's been a good working team.
Something positive out there for the community, especially those who don't know, like further out out from Perth, and that just gives them an eye-opener to not being ripped off, I suppose. Yeah.
All the stories, when Consumer Protection came in to us at Ab Music and told us the stories, we were just amazed, and I think we got behind us and said, yes, we're going to write something for this because it's terrible. And
what does NAIDOC mean to you?
Well, let me just define the letters. NAIDOC, National Aboriginal and Islander Day Observance Committee. So it means community, it means seeing family, and it's celebrating each other, celebrating where we've come from. And there's been a few struggles in the past, but there's been a lot of great things done too, great achievements. So NAIDOC means something special to me. I mean, the theme this year is the spirit of the embassy 40 years on, and so it's good that we have had warriors in the past and the activists, and it's good to acknowledge them.
Time for all the community to come together and celebrate culture in music, art, dance, politics, just everything, and also brings the family, and it also brings more awareness about culture.
Because some of these people that do go out in communities are quite unscrupulous. They are scam artists, so you know their whole thing is to try and make money, and a lot of money, quite quickly, and they will target people that are vulnerable or aren't really in a position to say no, or don't really understand English. Maybe that's not their first language, so yeah, I think that's probably what happens. I think because
challenges just by being remote communities that they do get itinerant traders especially taking advantage of that, because there's not free shops that they can go and compare prices with locally, whereas perhaps in the suburbs you can.
Is it that you've got vulnerable consumers who aren't aware of their rights, buying products they don't need, but being talked into it by salespeople? It's that sort of support that we need to provide. Probably deal with more complaints from a foreign backpacker who's travelled to Australia and has had a problem than I would from Indigenous consumers. They don't tend to come to government agencies for assistance. They either don't know about our services, or they just don't feel confident in making that contact.
I think there's still quite a big disconnect between the non-service providing departments and the Indigenous community. I think to be fair, we're there when people need us. We're not necessarily there in their everyday lives, even if they're purchasing. So making people aware of us, that if they have a problem, we're the ones that can help. And we've got a couple of Indigenous officers that work with us that we're very excited to have on board, that are able to go out and talk to the community, to talk to community groups, and perhaps take the services out rather than us, for people to come into us.
They've got contacts with the community, key community organisations and people, and they've got a lovely song that they're singing, and also they're reaching out. I think they've talked about going in the country, but also it happens in the city here too. That we've got Aboriginal people as consumers. We're pretty good consumers. We need protection. We need to be reminded of our rights, and so if we can have a place, have a fallback position to help us legally. So that's great.
It's a time for us to celebrate, and sometimes to probably walk back and then see how far we've come from when we actually, probably from the tent embassy time. Yeah, it's a time.
Oh my goodness, it means so much to me. I mean, I've been brought up with the idea of that it's important to have at least a space in your life where you actually celebrate who you are, where your family comes from. And my family are Yamaji, and NAIDOC Week is just such a good week for that.
NAIDOC is it's a special day. We acknowledge and recognize the Indigenous peoples, Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islands peoples' culture, and I guess more than just past culture, but the present and the achievements what we're doing. And in business-wise, I'm involved with the business, newspaper business, and a lot of people need to start business, and their story needs to be told. And that's the reason why we started this newspaper, Yamatji News, that to tell the stories of the good things that are happening, to support the NAIDOC celebrations. We want to tell their story, the good stories, as well as the history, as well as remind us what has happened in the past, but also what's happening today and what's going to happen in the future.
Consumer protection is the key to what we're all talking about. So anything that raises the awareness of both the general public about Indigenous problems and the awareness of Indigenous people about what we can do to help is worth it. So no, it's fantastic. I really enjoy being here. What I'd like to see happen is that all Indigenous consumers have the same sorts of protections as they do in the main cities, so that we have equality, and that everyone who buys and sells goods is offered the same protection, so that people in Indigenous communities, are protected from unscrupulous traders. There's no door-to-door knocking. There's no unconscionable conduct. There's no misrepresentations, and if there is any of that sort of conduct, then we're told about it and we can take some action.
I would really love to see an Aboriginal middle class. I like the idea of owning a home as being not an odd thing, or like, gee, she's really made it, she's owning her own home or whatever. I just think that shouldn't be the case. It should be something that's just a given, and that I really believe that can only happen with support from everyone in the community, and that once you see that, then you see people lifting themselves out of poverty. So yeah, an Aboriginal middle class. I would really.
There's a lot more awareness that goes about, and they understand how it all works and how to protect themselves a little more, and hopefully we could do this through the education and the arts, sort of going out there into the actual communities and speaking face to face.
I hope that it's not only knowledgeable for the old people, but for the young kids as well, so they grow up and know that they got a choice in what they do and decisions that they make.
One of the things is a lot of people don't have enough information, and that's why our newspaper has been promoting Department of Consumer Affairs Protection column. We have a column every issue now, so you can get a copy of the Yamatji News or Malgo Mail and read all about it, because next issue coming out July, we'll have something about what's happening today. We'll have information printed in our paper. So there's a column every issue about consumer affairs protection information in this paper. And we want our community out there to know their rights and protect themselves from people that come out to their communities and trying to rob them, to rip them off. Whatever services they're providing, make sure, check with Consumer Affairs Department, or check with the government offices in your region or in your town before you sign up any forms or any agreements.
If you're susceptible to scamming, I really encourage the community out there to make contact with the Department of Consumer Protection, and we will work on your behalf to make sure that you will get your rights met as a consumer, because you deserve it. It's your money, you've earned it, and we'll be there to help you.
The Indigenous Communities Education Program aims to create connections between the Department of Commerce and remote Aboriginal communities in the hopes that this will lead to greater consumer protection. Until next time, I'm Miles Riley and you're watching Perth City Talks.